Hello, and welcome to Presence Practice with Poonam and Parker. Hey, Poonam.
Hello, Parker. Good afternoon.
Hello. Yes, it really is. It's beautiful. And I was going to shoot these videos outside today, but instead we're going to shoot here with these beautiful flowers behind me on this side. And
love them.
Yes, they're pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And Kumar's over here too, so hey Kumar. Oh, maybe he'll come over later, but maybe he'll be sleeping too. So the topic today, as you probably saw in the introduction, is becoming. We may call it something else at the end of this video, but it'll be something about becoming. So it has so much seeking in that, right? Becoming and seeking. So I was looking at Krishnamurti's notebook. Can you see that? And I opened it up to this page and it was perfect for this. So I'm going to read it out loud. Being is infinitely more significant than becoming. Being is not the opposite of becoming. If it's the opposite or in opposition, then there is no being. When becoming dies completely, then there's being. But this being is not static. It's not acceptance, nor is it mere denial. Becoming involves time and space. All striving must cease. Then there is only being. Being is not within the field of social virtue and morality. It shatters the social formula of life. This being is life, not the pattern of life. That's so beautifully said. It's like the sky and not the clouds or the patterns that the clouds make. Where life is, there's no perfection. Perfection is an idea, a word, life. The being is beyond any formula of thought. It is there when the word, the example, the pattern are destroyed. That's so lovely. I enjoy enormously Krishnamurti's directness. He cuts through so clearly in his book, Freedom from the Known. He shatters everything that is not true in the truest sense. It's very beautiful. So what he's saying, as I'm sure we've all gathered, is that two things: that in the becoming, there's striving built into it. And so we let all of that go. And we have some very comfortable patterns as human beings to slip into efforting, especially here in the West, where we came and made so many changes to a continent in very recent history, a little more than 300 years. So pretty significant part of our patterns, especially in the West, and in some parts of the East too. Right? So let's sit in being. Let's sit together. What do you think, Poonam? How do you feel about this? Isn't this wonderful?
I think Krishnamurti's mastered the art of being that choiceless awareness that he so aptly describes presence, what Eckhart calls presence or alignment with inner beingness. Krishnamurti's mastered it. And all that book, the notebook, has several meditations. Like he goes into a meditative state. Like even if he opens his eyes in the middle of the night, he is completely present, right?
Yes.
the words he uses to experience his experience of presence is, he says, the immensity of the otherness. Like there's a thickness, there's a quality to that solitude, right? So that is so beautiful. And the reason for my own wanting to know what this presence is came from that talk that Eckhart had on Krishnamurti. When Eckhart said the words, the immensity of the otherness. So when we go outside on the patio and then look at the sky, look at the trees, and experience that immensity of the otherness, like the whole cosmos is one with who we are, right? That solitude.
Yes, when he starts writing, I think it might have been in here or it could have been another diary, but when he writes in the morning, he describes the stillness in the air, and later but the way that he describes it, it's endowed with such clarity and simplicity and joy. And I can see Walt Whitman. He's very popular, and his poetry is very popular, and when he writes, he is sitting in that kind of presence, and it's beautiful that it appeals to everyone. Anyone, no one's going to say, I can't hear that Walt Whitman talk about the trees and the tiny animals and creatures.
Or the rose and the manicured lawn in Paris, like he's sitting in Paris. That's how Eckhart starts the talk, is about the manicured lawn and a single red rose and the smell of the rose. Like you could smell the city, but no, he smelled the rose that was like under a tree or something. So beautiful.
I would like to add, we were just chatting about this a moment ago, and I was chatting with a teacher in Thailand last night, and we were speaking about the grace of forgiveness, which allows the present moment to be so much more accessible when we drop the past and sit in the simplicity and the stillness moment by moment, and how when we are ready to drop the story, that forgiveness is almost automatic. It seems like an act of grace, and then we're able to see so much more of a situation where we can hold all of it. For me, I personally had one narrative of my childhood, and there was plenty of evidence to say that I was powerless and a victim and all the stories that go along with that. But when the grace of forgiveness, true and authentic, because it could not be otherwise than how it was, then I was able to other things, a fuller picture came in. And it's so even though we all have the story of where we go, but we're not carrying it every single day. And then we're able to see more of the picture, like the wonderful cross-country trips that really helped me to be able to be agile and move around on this planet with some ease and confidence, in spite of not having a family net. And those trips were instrumental. And also, I could also see some impulses that came from, they may have turned out poorly, but they came from a place that was clearly loving. So there is space in all beings. It's not, we can no longer I could no longer look and say this person is evil and this person is a saint. And a beautiful thing. I've kind of moved into a different subject, but it's all of that happened effortlessly without seeking. The quality of my listening to Eckhart's work in those first weeks were just profound curiosity, and then just profound clarity, realization after realization, and experiencing peace for the first time. That's pretty amazing. and to know that we can carry that peace and have it all the time. And so we cease becoming, and we recognize. The second thing I wanted to point out that I didn't is that being isn't static. Being is always present. The fish in the water, where's the water? It's always present. So we could be in this moment now. Can our thoughts be still now?
It's not static because continuously consciousness is flowing in and out of us. It flows in just like a fountain. Consciousness flows in, and then we experience this present moment. Let me look at this room, the wall. Are we fully present? If you are in the past, if you do the becoming of being in the past, then we are missing out the whole experience, the joy of this experience. Like if you're holding a cup of coffee, we are missing the taste of the coffee, the smell of the coffee, how it smells, how warm it is, how the cup feels in our hand, right? That is the joy. That is the most joyful thing. Like no party is required, nothing is required. Every present moment is joyful. As long as we don't go into the past, in the future, this experience, and that was our purpose, is to be joyful in this moment. And that's perfectly said in drop the becoming, just be, and experience the dynamic aspect of the beingness. And
that could be the name of the video right there. Experience the dynamic aspect of beingness. And because the dynamic means it doesn't mean that we're inactive. Mm-hmm. So many people will say, well, does that mean that we're not going to do anything? Well, you sit still until the inspiration comes, and don't let your mind tell you that to know better. The dynamic aspect of beingness. Let me write that down. Okay.
We should end at that, Parker. What do you say?
I think so too. That was wonderful. Thank you for your wisdom.
Thank you.